There's a lot of people I've worked with who where it's like, they're like, "Oh, I want to give them personal access to my phone." I'm like, "No, no, no, no." Well, it's valuable because they get untapped. They will use it and use it. You will not have a life. You retired to do this to consult, and your retirement is no longer retired. Like your spouse wants to have pina coladas with you in St. Bart's, not happening. Not happening. Hey, everyone out there. It's another episode of After the Click with my good friend, Mr. Josh. What's up, man? How you doing today?
That's good, Joe. Today we're going to talk personal brands. I think it's something that we're both very passionate about because it's making probably one of the biggest impacts in 2026. And I think we noticed how personal brands were going to make a big impact in the way that we consumed everything, like back in 2012 when influencers were first in the rise. And now they're everywhere from
Everywhere.
yeah, you could have 10,000 followers and have a very profitable personal brand. And I'm very excited to talk about this with you because you've done this. You've helped people grow their personal brands, grow offers, and we're going to go through this today and you can share your expertise. I'm very excited about this.
Me too, man. Me too. There's a few things I wish I would have done earlier in life, and one of them was start a personal brand on YouTube like 10 years ago. Who like besides Gary Vee, who would have thought it would have blown up this big and been as valuable to people in today's world? And even knowing what AI is today too, like people search, the biggest thing for me that I notice is how to is the most, other than a few other small items, is the most popular thing on YouTube people search for. So with that, who's got like a good brand of teaching people to how to do stuff, right? That's anything, right? Whether it be
Anything.
vlogs or just the day in the life or educational stuff. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And if you got a great personal brand, my gosh, I could list an insane amount of companies that have done tremendously well just by leveraging just that. So as we go into our gamification slides here of fun, why personal branding wins in 2026 and beyond. It's not about the product. It's the trust machine that makes the product sellable. And brand is top of funnel. I think we all recognize that's a very key, important piece. And the offer is where the money lives. Couldn't be more true. And I think, Josh, as we've even talked about making funnels and building them out for clients as well, too, there's what type of awareness or what stage is a certain person in a customer journey? Are they aware of their problem? Are they aware of their solution? Are they aware of the person that's talking about this fix? And what I'm seeing so much of now is these cold ads that go out, unless you're like unless you're very small and kind of starting off. So many of their campaign strategies and paid ad strategies are around, do you know this person already? If you know this person already, trust is already there and authority, and then they'll just, boom, you can just sell them anything.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so important. So are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? Are they of the person aware? That is a key one right there. And I'm probably blabbing too much before we dive into this first question here. Personalities drive more sales than brands.
Well, I kind of think that's why you were yapping there for a little bit, Joe, because you might be getting yourself towards the answer that you believe in. And personally, I think the reason why brands have done such a good job at backing themselves with personalities is because this is true. I mean, you're seeing it everywhere. And I know just recently we talked about like the CPG space and like good landing pages, but there's a new brand emerging. It's called the Good Nut. I don't even know if you've heard about it.
Yeah,
It sounds pretty.
you're
It
the king
sounds
of
pretty
knowing all
funny.
these new random companies.
It sounds pretty funny, right? Because the headline was, "Tom Brady wants you to drink his or swallow his nut," and it's like, "Yo," it's like, "What are you talking about?" But look,
Talk about a hook.
talk about a hook. That's curiosity. The thing is, Tom Brady is probably not passionate about coconut water. He probably likes coconut water, but there's some operators in the background that said, we can build this really nice aesthetic coconut water brand that's kind of funny and cool for the boys. And we're just going to position it as Tom Brady's brand. We don't get, Tom Brady could have like 49% and we have 51%, but we're going to say it's Tom Brady's brand. Because if Tom Brady drinks it, the GOAT, one of the best football players of all time,
Yeah.
then people will follow. And that applies with anything. Like when T-Mobile uses Drewski in their commercials, they're doing it probably because they want to get a community or a type of shopper to say, hey, if Drewski fucks with T-Mobile, then I'm gonna fuck with T-Mobile. And it's that simple, right? And you can think about it in many different ways. When The Rock made tequila, it's like, why should The Rock be making tequila? And you go down to like a very small, like a niche of a niche. And just this like past weekend, one of my buddies hit me up and he said, hey, Perspective actually just asked me to like create content for them because they really like what I'm pushing out. He has like
Wow.
3,500 followers, but his audience is so engaged that Perspective says, I would much rather put more money towards creators who are bringing like the attention to platforms and actually getting them to convert than just banking on the fact that our brand can do all the work. And speaking of Perspective, like now this is a niche, very niche thing. Like Neil from Perspective. Joe, do you recall who he
I know.
is?
Yeah, that like European guy, with blonde hair, bangs.
Yes.
Yep.
I would almost say that Perspective leaned in on, can we make Neil a personal brand? And Neil ends up trafficking traffic or attention and users towards the Perspective brand. You almost think of Perspective and you probably think of him first before the funnels because he probably was the reason that you got in. And for that reason, I would say I agree 1,000,000,000%.
You into the agree section here. I love it. You know, I thought I looked at this question and I was like, okay. I immediately went to one answer and I thought, well, let me play devil's advocate here. Let me really think this through. Are there any brands that have crushed it without a personality? And I got really okay, let's see here. Nike is a phenomenal brand. They do so well at branding themselves. We've talked about the analogy of if Nike made a hotel and if Hilton made a shoe, like who knows what the shoe would be, but I know exactly what the hotel would be like. It'd be full of motivation and all that other stuff. Like, just do it, right?
Yes.
And then I get thinking, okay, well, what's the number one shoe Nike has ever sold? Mr. Jordan,
Mr. Jordan.
right?
Joe, it's actually 13 to 17% of all Nike sales come from the Jordan brand.
I believe it. Wouldn't be surprised if it would be even higher. And then I'm thinking, okay, how about another one? How about Apple, right? If Steve Jobs and all these others weren't the influential figure that they were, I mean, they're a critical, and everyone knows that name. Everyone. I think that's a key piece behind it. You know, branding is crucial there. I think the personal brand is something that just put it over the top. You know, uh, Apple, I think, is the greatest branded company in the world. If they have something that's white, and I will pay 5 times the price for a little dongle that's white than some other whatever Amazon company to do it because I want it all to match my stuff. So I'm definitely going to agree with you here. I think personalities definitely drive more sales than brands, without question. It's especially in today's day and age. The things I've seen, you've seen of people who've come up and that just, why did you buy? I just like the person. It's crazy. Now we got a hot take one here. This is
Okay.
interesting. 10,000 aligned followers beats 500K random every single time. I have examples of this. I have case studies of this. And if you would have brought them to my attention, oh, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I
Hmm.
probably wouldn't have believed you. But I've personally seen it. I have worked with a YouTuber who has actually, they have over 3 million subscribers now. 3 million. And we built out a low ticket funnel for them. And then we had a sales team for them. And we were doing high ticket also as well too. And I mean, the sales were better than what he was getting. I mean, it was a very poorly put together ClickFunnels set of pages. But the team I was with, we put together some really good stuff. And I mean, what we noticed was, okay, this person has 3 million subs and the amount of people watching is minimal compared to some other people. Then I know another brand who has 3 million subs and gets almost 1 million views in 24 hours compared to the first one I just mentioned that got maybe 20,000 views in 24 hours and the watch time just plummeted. That first person. Second person, like very consistent. So what does all this mean that I'm saying? Aligned followers that like your content, that like you, that are interested in hearing more, that believe in your message, It beats 500K all day long. So I'm going with a very strong agree right there.
Yeah. And Joe, I'm not far from this either. And the first time that I got this experience was back in the day whenever I was doing marketing for shoewear brands. I would have, let's say, Adidas come to me and say, "Hey, Josh, we want you to use $30,000 of our campaign budget to hire out some influencers." And the whole goal for these influencers was to drive sales. Most of the time, influencers are just meant to spread awareness. But if they drove sales, that was a double whammy. And it may if I was able to source those influencers and share that back with the brand, they would be very happy with our partnership and they would continue to give me more money to make ourselves more money. At first, when I was young and naive, I would say, I'm just going to try to get the biggest influencers ever to wear our brand. And hopefully that will make a big splash. And then rep after rep after rep, I realized, well, these influencers are just expensive and their engagement rate kind of sucks. That's why they're hiding their like count and they're not really bringing sales in. So I started experimenting.
Mhm.
I would say, I'm gonna get one big influencer, one medium sized influencer, and then like five small creators. Now, for the most part, the influencers I was dealing with were like in the fashion space or in the family space, right? Because they were trying to either show the entire footwear line for the family
Sure.
or making the brand look cool. And then I started realizing it's like those small creators that have like true followings that actually really like them would end up clicking on the link in their bio, which would link to like a LTK or a like to know it. The influencer girl at least will know about this. They'll click on this and then they'll go and shop from their affiliate link. And the smaller creators were consistently beating out the bigger creators. And that's because the bigger creators have kind of just became generalized and forgotten about their audience. And they're like, I'm just going to post whatever content and you guys are going to like it. And hopefully, either way, I'm going to hide my like count unless I go viral. And the smaller creators were really trying. They were trying to connect with their audience. They were trying to like be more like boots on the ground. And I think it really meant a lot to them whenever a brand deal came through that they were going to try really hard to make it feel worth it for that.
Sure.
And for that reason, even now, what I'm seeing is like these smaller creators that either have a digital product or are doing a really good job with like affiliate sales. They're almost outperforming these big accounts that aren't doing like the proper foundation. And I will agree with you. Again, 100,000,000%.
Let's drag it on over there. I love it. I love it. What I find so interesting is like you put me back many, many years ago. I would have likely thought different, but now seeing the power of both,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Look at this one, creator path. This is cool. Okay, you're starting your creator journey, and this is a lot of people out there. Arguably, it should be everyone who's listening doesn't have at least consistent content going up and are building something for themselves. Everyone should have personal brand for themselves. So what's the move? Chase the algorithm, which I've seen. Oh my gosh, I've seen this so much. People saying chase the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Post daily, do this strategy, go broad, max reach, all content, or find your niche and go deep in it, right? Build that trust and get at least 1,000 true fans. So Josh, let's have you answer this one first.
This is definitely a hard one because it depends on what you want from life. And I think that's fair. And I think it's fair
Way to put it.
to be okay with that because if you're leaning into a creator path, I think back of like the Logan Pauls and the David Dobrik's and maybe like the people that started off on Vine and then went on to YouTube. Their whole goal was just we're gonna chase this algorithm and try to go like clip after clip or video after video, like try to go viral and just grow. Because the whole point of that was like the more eyeballs we get into our content, maybe that increases opportunities. And I think that's still fair now. I think people still are still doing that. But at least for this episode and for what we're talking about, I think finding your niche is going to be a lot more fruitful. And there's people out there that even go against that. They will say, don't niche down, like talk about whatever interests you, like you are the niche.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I struggle with that because it's okay, I get it. A personal brand is all about you, but then I'm also if I put on my marketing hat
Mhm.
and I think about brands, it's like nobody cares about brands. When you say like we are the best drink in the world, yeah, like nobody really cares that. People what people care is like how does this drink make me feel? And the same thing goes towards personal brands. It's like how does Josh make me feel when he talks to the camera?
That's 100% correct.
And so you can't just talk about everything that Josh has to do. Like if I'm like, yeah, I just went to the dermatologist and I just got a new car and I'm working on this project. I'm walking my dogs. It's like you just spread yourself out so thin that you get people asking, well, what part of you should I care about? Because we're not celebrities.
Right.
And yeah, I'll say find your niche.
I think you made some good points there. And I think about a bunch of the YouTubers who have vlog content that I follow. And one of the most recent ones that we've talked about was Speed with like 3 E's, right? And I forget who was interviewed by, he was interviewed by a lot of people recently, and his channel was just blown up really quick. And he was at the channel Donut and had great performance over there. And then he started this personal brand YouTube channel that's like cars, but also like dudes that just maybe spend too much time behind their computer monitor or just like, yeah, they're car guys, but they don't really like have like fashion sense or like decor sense or like maybe interest in like careers that are popular and like they don't really have really any direction of like what to do next in their life. And at first it's kind of like each video that came up was all over the place, but people like listening to him. That was the
Mhm.
thing. He created that personal brand. It was engaging and interesting content, which I thought was so cool. Now, if I put myself on the algorithm side of things, the importance, I'm not going to say the niche is way more important than the algorithm or vice versa. I think I could probably pick one over the other for sure. But I've also been in the path and worked with people in the path who they're just they're very broad. They narrow down to their niche, and then they got what's that syndrome called? Shiny object syndrome. Well, let me change it to this. Let me change it to this niche. I'm going to try people with this, and they have like 40
Mm.
different ones. They're not spending the right time on it, and then that gets cloudy, and they're not posting up content in a regular fashion. I mean, we know like some great algorithm, so to speak, workflows on how to post YouTube content, LinkedIn content, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, even all the above. So, although creating a consistency of the algorithm of how you frame your content and how often you create it and what you stick to is important, I'm going to say, like, if I had to like lean between it, I'd probably go like right there.
Which is fair. I think that is the
Yeah.
right answer.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So we had like a little like pop up here, big reach, low trust, brand deals, maybe burnout incoming. I've been there. I totally get it. I've worked with many people who have it as well too. Need to get consistent with all this and they hire out or they don't do it they try and do all of it themselves. And oh gosh, that creator mentality. We've seen it, right? Smaller
Incredibly
reach,
difficult.
deeper trust, sellable audience, long game wins. That's where it works well. So I'm on board with that. Let's see what we got next here. So our next topic, where to build it. I love talking about this stuff because, well, I mean, like a year ago would have been slightly different answers. I'm not sure I also like to talk about the future of where this could be. I've
Mhm.
got some thoughts on that, but there's a reason, Josh, that we're making a YouTube video today. So that has a podcast behind it where people are listening as well. So let's hear this one. Our debate. YouTube is the hardest platform to build on, but the highest payoff for high ticket sales. Let's start with the first part of it. Is it the hardest platform to build on?
Million% yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I
What comes
think
second?
think if we're talking about if we're tagging along that second thing about, highest payoff for high ticket sales, I think platforms like Instagram make it really hard to also grow in because the abundance of good content on Instagram is just there. I would almost rank it as like YouTube, Instagram, then maybe LinkedIn, then maybe like a Substack slash newsletter, and then maybe TikTok. And a lot of people would say, well, TikTok is not that easy. What you're seeing on TikTok is all you have to do is talk to the camera.
Mhm.
That's all you have to do. And if you have anything
Unscripted.
worth If you have anything worth listening to, people will stick along. It's like the lowest form of content that you can do because it's easy. And if you do it like 7 times a day, 5 times a day, you're just posting every day, like something's gonna catch on. As long as you're doing it within your niche and you're not just like a jackass talking about whatever. So that's how I would rank it.
Okay. And the highest payoff for high ticket sales.
I would also agree. And
To, total to the top, I would agree with that.
to the top, and I think, Joe, you probably agree with this as well. I think the fact that with YouTube or just, like, go back, take a step back and just, like, general marketing knowledge, you need, like, multiple touch points to get somebody to, A, trust you, and then B, like, actually see you as an expert, and then C, probably buy from you. And it's not just touch points, it's also, like, amount of hours that they consume your content. Very rarely does someone just see a TikTok and say, "I'm gonna jump on this $10,000 like mastermind with Josh and Joe." They wouldn't do
Sure.
that. But if they listened to us for 40 hours, let's say 40 episodes, they saw some clips, they followed us on Instagram, they followed us on TikTok. After all of that, the majority of the heavy lifting was done by YouTube. And at that point, you almost feel like you know that person. It's like that right now, that is all I'm consuming on YouTube because I'm studying like these new guys and girls who are up and coming. And I look at their comment section. Some people have like 10,000 to like 50,000 subscribers and they are blowing up in their niche. But then I look at their content, it's well shot, almost cinematic. They're saying a lot of valuable content and they're just pumping hours and hours and hours and hours, oftentimes repeating themselves over and over and over again. I always go back to him, but like Tom Nosky, I think that's how you
Mhm,
pronounce his name.
mhm.
I love the guy. I think everything that he has to say is so valuable. But once you've seen one of his YouTube videos, you've seen them all. But if you continue to watch over and over and over again, he's gonna drill that message so deep into your head that you're gonna go ahead and go into his offer, his time to build offer, which is like $200 a month. You're a part of that and you're in. He gets you in the system. I mean, I think that's how he got to $1 million a year just by doing that, posting every day.
Dude, it's crazy the amount of people that through YouTube have gotten high ticket sales. Like their experience is minimum, and they just got enough of a good personal brand where they just say like, "Hey, I've done this before. I'm an expert at it." They're believable, and all their income is just teaching other people how to do what they did like twice. I say, I joke about that, but like the biggest person I could talk about is Iman. How, I mean, is he truly an expert in his field? I think he's a good personal brand. I think he's a really good personal brand. It doesn't matter what he puts out there. It could be garbage and just, hey, read the reviews, what people think. Are they getting real value? They're buying because the guy's in Dubai with like Rolls Royces and it's got like sick cuts in his on his channel and all of his videos that come out and like rap music and all his boys with Richard Meals watches. I mean, he's living the dream. So I would definitely say I agree with you on this here. The hardest platform to build on because I think it's the hardest to start committing on. I
Yeah.
think so many people think I need where am I coming with these ideas? I need a full production team. Whereas the mindset and concept for Instagram, Snapchat, and all these others are just especially TikTok, right? It's just you grab a phone and you're just get ready with me. Guess what I just saw? My God, stuff like that, right? Like that's not YouTube content. That is just quick, easy consumable content to do. And YouTube means a little bit more of a production side, or at least even if it's not a production side, it needs to at least be a creativity side of like Casey Neistat talks about, right? You could film anything on your phone. You don't need no crazy camera. You just have to have a creative mind. Easier said than done. Creativity is very, very difficult. So I would agree it's the hardest to build on and the hardest to stay consistent on.
Yeah.
Definitely the hardest to stay consistent on. And definitely the highest payoff for high ticket sales as well, too. Again, I've seen this and had multiple clients where they were at low ticket and we switched to high ticket with the sales team and like they were so nervous and it like quadrupled their sales in the first month and then just scaled way past that. And they're like, what? I'm like, you got to sell the right thing to your audience. Like, what are they willing to spend? Know that ICP. And I think, geez, with the high ticket stuff, without question, if you've can prove that you've done it before, if your audience believes you, if you say the right things, And I'm not saying, I mean, there's opportunities to cheat your audience, and like that's the Ty Lopez's of the world, right? And these rented Airbnbs, but high ticket sales, my gosh, like the golden unicorn is like qualified audience members who like you that have the money to pay for this type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's insane. So meant to throw you in here, and boom, I'm definitely going to go right in there as well too. Had something on the tip of my tongue. What was it? Oh, and okay. And I do quite a bit of consulting as well. And something I see quite often and I hear, actually, this happened last month or so, was a high ticket sales team. And a lot of it was the founder and his assistant or whatever, and a very small team. And they've got good funnels.
Mhm.
They do, and they're running ads. They're like, we want to run tons of money, cold ads to all these people right to our funnel. I'm like, well, is it to immediately a high ticket product? Well, it's to a VSL, which gets them qualified, which talks about this, which goes into this. Great. But they don't know you. And I emphasized on the call with them the importance of YouTube. Like, sure,
Yeah.
it's free, but not free, right? It's your time, it's the production stuff, it's editing. I get it, right? But it's not running ads. And sure, your time is part of the risk part of it. But I was like, you need like I'm huge on the organic side of things, and that's YouTube without question. And they told me, well, we don't want to just post stuff out there and not get views on it. Of course you don't. No one does. Do you think anyone starts a YouTube channel to get no views? Do you think YouTube channels just they start making 10 videos and all of a sudden they have millions of subscribers that are like qualified lead? No, this takes time,
No.
right? So the longer you put it off, and we're going into that realm now where you search stuff on Google, on ChatGPT, all these others. And what does it do? A YouTube video comes up. And then what happens there? Oh, this guy sounds interesting. You become found. Your awareness is YouTube. So I'm definitely leaning big on there.
Yeah. YouTube will open so many doors for you.
It is the strongest platform. I think it's the strongest platform without question right now for personal brand building. Depends on the niche, of course. But I'm going to say overall it is because you're able to get longer engaged watch time of people to believe and hear your story. So this or that, this is a cool one.
Yeah.
For building a personal brand in 2026, which platform is actually more valuable? Well, we talked a little bit about this already, but let's see. Did you answer first last time? I forget. Did I?
I think I answered first. We started talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no YouTube on here. Let's see. Instagram DMs plus conversion, or TikTok discovery and reach. Interesting. Ooh,
It's like red pill or blue pill, Joe. Are you a Coke guy or are you a Pepsi guy?
yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, I'll put it this way. I've seen success in both. I've seen brands that do both and are more successful in one versus the other. Obviously, it's niche dependent. I think if you're on the business side of things, and I think if you're more educational side, Instagram's where to be. And I say education, maybe like business education, if you will, because there's also education on hair tutorials and makeup tutorials. And that is definitely TikTok. And then they have TikTok shop and they got these little products and that just blows up. I personally know someone who's got 15 million on TikTok and like 3 million on Instagram, started at the same time. TikTok blows it away with that particular one. So this is a tough one here. If I guess I'll put it for myself. If I was starting over, wanted to grow, what would I want to do would be most valuable? I think what I want to do for myself would be this for everything I talk about in the marketing world. However, I think if I were doing a get ready with me and I just had like a lipstick brand or something, I probably would do TikTok.
Yeah. And I see where you're going with this because I think there's like different versions of you can think. I would almost say that if I was building a brand, let's say we're building like J&J awesome t-shirts. I feel like TikTok would be a really good place for that
Okay.
because it can be really easy, right? It can be just like holding a phone and like talking about like what we're experiencing like as founders, almost like mini vlogs. And I think TikTok would be really good for that because TikTok is best when it's as raw as possible. It's almost like if you're editing your TikToks, you're doing it wrong. But with Instagram, and I think the way that we think about ourselves and what we do, I think Instagram is like the second step from the conversation we just had about YouTube, which is like I sense that Instagram has a more mature audience and maybe a more ready to buy audience. And this is just a hunch, but this is based on the fact that running ads on Meta is significantly better than running ads on TikTok. And that could be a
Yeah.
whole debate. Someone could DM me and say, "Josh, you are stupid." Um, but this is my experience. I mean, and that's because people on Instagram, well, in the meta environment, like you go ahead and you post a reel on Instagram, and you can turn on a toggle to also post that same reel on Facebook. And now you have a good double whammy there. It's like Meta has the automations to like do instant replies, the many chat automation to get people into your funnels. Link in bio is almost was adopted because of Instagram. I just think Instagram is a place where you can go in there and make decisions for yourself. TikTok is a place of dopamine, and that's why if I was building my personal brand, I don't want dopamine junkies that want that next scroll or want the immediate satisfaction of a TikTok shop purchase. I want the Instagram audience.
Instagram audience it is. Joining we're green on everything here,
We're agreeing
Josh.
on everything there.
Okay, let's see what this and again, like, we haven't seen
Mm,
these yet. This is all new. Best writing platform for personal brand this year, 2026.
this one's fun.
Okay, I'm just thinking ahead here of what I'm there's a couple different answers I've got in my mind, but you know what? You're gonna take this one first. Let's hear it. Let's hear your thoughts.
All right.
Where's your
Now,
mind going?
Joe, honestly, a part of me thinks that I'm addicted to X, formerly known as Twitter, because I love reading people's thoughts. And if you were to scroll through my Twitter, it's just a whole bunch of other marketers or people building with Claude or founders. And like my bookmarks in Twitter is filled with so much knowledge. Like on a weekly basis, I go back to my bookmarks. I gather the ones that are like really impactful
Sure.
and I drop them into Claude, into my personal project. And I always ask, like, how can I apply this into my life? Whether it's something that is really cool or something for my business, something for my employer, or like if it's something for this episode, right? Or something for this podcast. And I've gotten so much out of Twitter that I would almost say if you're in the digital world, Twitter has a really good audience that is probably doing the same thing as you. And you can land on their feeds a lot better than anything else. Because I think for Substack, you kind of need an audience already. For LinkedIn, you're kind of writing for other professionals, not necessarily for other builders. And this is in no way like an offense to the 9 to 5 crowd because I still participate in that. But I think when you are in the 9 to 5, you're more worried about how your current job is going or what your next opportunity looks like.
Mhm.
And if you were on LinkedIn writing, you would probably be writing for the 1% of LinkedIn, the ones that actually make decisions. And that would mean that you'd have to be in some type of B2B like program or doing something like that. And then there's an email list, which I think is kind of like Substack. Like growing an email list is incredibly hard. It's not an easy feat. You can't just start a newsletter and expect people to go there. I think the best writing platform is Twitter.
Wow, interesting. I was not expecting that. Well, you really got me thinking here. I think I see where that's a win on X now. And again, this all goes back to like is like niche dependent on certain things, right? I think if you're starting from scratch and you have a good story behind it and you want to grow your personal brand that way, if you're I mean, everything needs a great story. I think everyone has a good story. You just have to find it and repurpose it to a way that people resonate with. And I think when that's done, you can get a lot of people following you on X. I also think the same thing with email lists too. I'm between X and email lists, but I would agree. It's like it's tough because building that email list is very difficult. However, one of the easiest things to get up front from somebody before a payment is their email.
Yes. I mean, you can collect emails like a mother effer if you really tried. You can
If you
run
real
ads to
correct,
collect emails.
totally. If you had something of value, you could totally do that. And once you have it in, you can totally continue to authentically tell your story. I think there's so many different ways now and methods that people are just tired of reading and seeing and stuff like that. I think if it's short, little content that's simplified and brings emotion out of it and has a strong hook and has something of value in each one, it's not just telling a story of one of these days I did this, went to the grocery store, blah, blah. Like, what was it that was crazy that happened that was a lesson learned that they could take away reader and use the next day. So I'm going to go with email list on this one.
Email list. Okay.
I
Joe,
still think it's undervalued, underappreciated, but it's the easiest thing to get from someone. Everyone has an email. How many people are on X and then like open the app regularly and then see your stuff and how many other people they're seeing their stuff with? I still think email's a very strong one.
look, where I'm going with this is that I think that with X, you're kind of going down the route of like a TikTok or an Instagram.
Sure.
Like if you create good content, the probability of you getting a good viral tweet, and by viral I mean like, let's say that you get over 1,000 engagements, right, between likes, like retweets or whatever. It's like that's pretty good for Twitter if you're in a niche. And these opportunities can appear more often than having a viral email, right? It's also the if you collect their email, what is the likelihood that they actually open your emails and read on them and act on them? But that's why we have this style, right? This is why we debate on these options because we have
Yeah.
different lines of thinking.
I think a lot of people have tried an email list and have failed. It's because they don't have a good enough hook in the subject line. They don't have enough value each time and they try and oversell.
Yeah. Or they have nothing good to say.
That's also part of it too. That's also part of it. Let's hear what's next here. Trivia. What percent of
Oh.
podcast listeners take action based on a host recommendation? I have no idea. Let me think this through.
Honestly, even at a 20 to 30%, that's an incredible
That's
number. That's
insane.
an
Like,
incredible
imagine
number.
Rogan said I mean, Rogan does hint stuff here and there, right? But wow. I mean, if there was an option below 20, 30%, I would think that. Like, I still think 20, 30% is crazy, crazy, crazy high. And if that's the truth,
Uh,
wow.
you mentioned Rogan, and one of the ads that got stuck in my head for Rogan was like in the beginning of his podcast, he would talk about Traeger grills, and
Uh,
till the and until this day, I'm like, the day that I buy my house and I have a backyard with a grill, I'm gonna buy a Traeger grill because no, whatever you say about Joe Rogan, that man likes his meats. And if he is always cooking on his grill and he prefers a Traeger grill, I'm gonna cook on a Traeger grill. I almost just want to hope differently, and I'll say 40 to 50%.
wow. What? Mm. What? There's no way. No way. Okay,
Look,
take action. Doesn't mean it is a full conversion, right? Take action after
yeah,
the host recommendation. So arguably, depends on how it is, you have taken action on this Traeger grill because you've embedded it as the grill that you want to purchase in the future. You're not buying it right now, you're buying it in the future. That
yeah.
is insane.
Or Joe,
Wow, it's incredible.
even referring to our last episode, like I went to the AG1 website because of Andrew Huberman. I took an action.
And there it is. You took an action. It all starts right there in the customer journey. Wow, 60 to 70%. Now, the last things we're going to talk about here, which I could talk about offer ladder, value ladders, all this stuff all day long, but this is critical here that people understand and hear from free stuff all the way up to a 50K high ticket digital product, physical, like combination of stuff, whatever.
Mhm.
What does that look like? And we kind of broke it down and kind of want to reveal some of these and talk about each one, how people can use these in their personal brand, when it's what's good to start with, what's good to map out, etc. And I think even before the first one is shown here of all seven, and you put this one together here, so I'm going to see the reveals of it as it wraps up, right? I still think that building the personal brand is the first quote unquote offer, and maybe this is the number one, I don't know, well before getting someone's email. Like someone needs to be interested in you before they're even interested in giving an email. And that may as well be the first one right here. Free content. There we go. It is. Boom. We are aligned. Totally. I think so many, geez, I was just speaking with um, a executive leadership coach yesterday talking about, well, I just retired as a CEO and I've got some people following me for this stuff right here. Great. And they've got like a mediocre following of not really people on LinkedIn, people that know him, so to speak. And I was like, well, first off, reach out to them, see if what they'd be interested in. You could kind of map out a type of product from there, but don't get too crazy because that scope creep is going to like definitely happen. You got to find your niche, of course, but start putting stuff out there that's of value. Start getting people interested. Start seeing people are responding to. Start getting people enjoying what you have to say, hearing your brand tone, your brand style. That is top of funnel without question, even if it's a chiseled chin and a smile. Like dude, that's top of funnel.
Top of funnel.
What are your thoughts on that?
Joe, I had to pause here because I was like, this is something that's kind of been the free content game is something that's like been almost like consuming me. It's almost like a plague in my world
Same.
because
It
I'm
eats me. Yeah.
consuming so much of it. And Joe, honestly, I owe it all to you because now I see through all of this. Like I think you took away my rose-colored glasses. You stomped them on the ground and you said, "Wake up." And now, like I see it.
Give me an
Everything
example. Give me an example. I wanna hear this.
every like okay, every Instagram person that has something of value to say will have an offer. Every YouTube video that I watch on how to do something will have an offer. And I keep chasing more answers. And I want more. And I want somebody that actually tells me how to do XYZ and I can get those tangible results today. But it's hidden behind an offer. And I think there was a time when I would look at this and say, well, damn, like that is the solution that I need. Like I might consider actually getting it because you gave me 90% of it, except how to actually do it. And it's the free content is actually quite valuable, but to a certain point, because it's almost like you gave it's like Joe, if you gave me the key to my future home
Okay.
and then you tell me, come on, Josh, get in my car and I'm gonna drive you to the plot of land where your house is going to be built. Cause I'm giving it to you. And I'm like, oh my God, Joe, you're giving me a house? And you're like, yes, I'm giving you the whole house for free. I'm like, oh my God, babe, we're getting a house. We're driving down. I get out and I see the plot of land and I see all the material laid out. And you're like, there you go. You just have to build it. And I'm like, nah. And you're like, no, 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 no. But I'm giving you everything here. It's all here. The land is here. The materials here. You have the key. I'll even give you the bow on top if you want it. So whenever
Yeah.
you're done building it, or I can hit up my buddies who are home builders and I can have this built for you for $500,000. What do you think? And at this point, it's like, well, Joe already gave me the key. He gave me the materials. He's giving me everything. All right, babe, let's go ahead and pay Joe $500,000 and he'll build us a house.
You trusted this fictitious Joe to take you to like, you got in the car, you went to this area, you believed in, "Well, if we're already here, I might as well," right? I already believed it so far, I might as well just keep going. I hear you. I hear you. And that free content, man, that is, oh, so, so valuable. I can think of the amount of times I just, like, watch YouTube videos aimlessly in the evening and go down this, like a deep rabbit hole, like the deepest ever. And I'm like, how this person came up with this random topic and now they're who knows what it could be, right? Like, it could, cop videos, right? Is stuff I watch in the evening. And then all of a sudden they're like, tired of hearing all that these sirens, get these Raycon noise canceling earbuds. It's like Raycon again. And they're like killing it with like six figures in sales. It may not have to be their own product, but like people, it's nuts. It works.
It's always something.
Always something. So after that free piece, the lead magnets to the email list, the piece that's when you have the right person in place for that. We know a great person that Mr. Seth. He's a great email man. He's a great copywriter, but he's an even better email man.
Yes.
Once you get that person in the door and you get them hooked in that email component, that is golder than gold. Totally. What do you think?
Yeah. And look, at this point, we've talked about free content. I've gotten in several of these lead magnets to email list. And for the most part, it's quite enjoyable to be in that environment because they kind of keep giving you like that 90%. And it's fun to come back and get more of that 90%. It's kind of like back in high school if you ever had a girlfriend that didn't really love you, but she liked you enough to have you around. And sometimes she'll give you a kiss, sometimes she'll make out with you. But she never took you to the final base that you wanted to be in. And that's kind of like where an email list can be. And if you do a really good job at like nurturing your audience, and if you're actually providing them with value, at this point, I think this is where you're creating fans,
Totally.
devoted
100%
fans.
agree.
Even if they don't buy from you, they can still say, well, I signed up to Joe's newsletter and he's honestly giving me a lot of like really good tips. And that's when they start talking about you like at dinner parties with friends or like with other like-minded individuals where it's like, dude, you should like sign up to his newsletter. It's actually really good. And that's where you make fans. And I think I like step number two of the offer ladder.
Yeah. And I think too, there's something like especially immediate needs. I can't tell you the many times where I've was watching a tutorial on something, whether it was vibe coding with Claude or using Lovable or there's different software every week. I feel like, and there's someone that's several months ahead of what I'm doing. I search it on YouTube. I find it. Hey, do you want this prompt? Do you want this dead? Do you want this blah, blah? Just click this link below. No problem. Click the link. It's free. Just enter your name and email. And many times his phone number too, so they can start blowing my text up. And I'm like, all right, it's just whatever. I'll unsubscribe right away. And now the marketer in me is always like, unless it's bad in the first one or two, I'm like, if it's decent, I'm like, I wonder where this is going to go. I wonder what framework they're going to use moving forward. Are they going to press in the pain and twist the knife? Are they going to go more value focused driven? Like where's it going to go? So getting those little, I feel like I'm subscribed to so many of them now, and I unsubscribed to a bunch like every morning as well too. But like I kind of get a little joy out of like, all right, cool. I need what you have right here.
Mhm.
I'll give you my email as a marker. Let's see how long you can keep me in. Like if you can convert me, that'd be like good luck with that, right? Because we know the tactics.
Yeah.
But let's see how long you can keep me in. If you keep me in for a while, then I'm like, well done. You've gotten my interest, which I love. Next piece here, low ticket, $9 to $99. We built out a lot of these, haven't we, Josh? I
We
mean,
have.
an insane amount when it comes to cold traffic on meta ads. That $17 amount, that's the golden number in my opinion. But there's so many of these that get people in. But what have we learned? And there are probably a few of these after this that get people that really jack up that average order value. It's not that $9 item. It's not that $17 item. It's not that $99 item. It's the bumps, the upsells, one-time offers, urgency, need it now. And I even fall for it too, man. We talked about
Yeah.
this in the last episode. This deal ends in 5 minutes. Like 95% of my head's like, no, it doesn't. That's automated. But that little itty bit extra is like, but what if it is?
But what if it is? But you know what, Joe? Think this is your first opportunity to hit a grand slam because if you deliver on your low ticket offer,
Yep.
they're already buying something from you. So don't
Correct.
be don't be again, don't be a jackass and just give them 50% of something. Give them some answers. And you might even give them all the answers because your next offer is like, well, it'll be done for you. This is kind of like a, we'll teach you how to do it. And
Sure.
maybe the next offer is, well, we'll actually do it for you. If you do this right, you're opening like everything up for you to be successful when you pitch them on the next thing. And even if you give them all the answers and they decide like, Joe, thank you so much for teaching me everything. I think I'm good here because I bought the $9 thing and then I also added all the bumps. I took in all your email flows. I bought all your funnels. I bought your client acquisition system. Like I'm really good. Like after $500 or like in some bumps or whatever, like I'm in a really good place. But I know some buddies that aren't going to apply this for themselves. And I'm going to tell them to go like look you up. And that's when you like the email list, you went from a
You're right.
fan to now an advocate.
You
And
said it.
if you do it right,
You said it. This is where the true LTV really starts. I totally as soon as whether they are upsold into something or not, it's delivering on what you said you would do with this product, and even over delivering. It's like this is. I mean, Hormozy says this all the time. It's make a package so good it seems like irresistible to buy, or whatever his phrase is for his $100 million offer book. But I totally agree. And if your customer service isn't there, if you have a course or something and customer service doesn't answer, or if links are broken, or if something's outdated, like you've lost them. You've lost a lot of a high percentage of them, and you're hoping that your brand can continue to like it's like Flex Seal on a boat that's like putting holes in it, right? Can it
yes,
keep up? I don't know.
I'm gonna clip that.
Yeah, it's
It
but I
just
mean, you're right. The LTV is established at the low ticket. It really is established. I mean, when you get their email, but really at the low ticket because then you have a qualified buy. You have a buyer, right? Not a window shopper. They actually bought something. You can keep them in.
yes.
So we talk mid ticket, 100 to 2K, depends on which market or niche you're in. But yeah, I totally see this course cohort, these little more of a done with you model, a little bit of done for you, but done with you, as opposed to do it yourself. Depending on what it is, I've seen real estate people and Just where like $500 paying for something gets you this much of a return, it makes sense. Even if it's the same thing as the low ticket, but done faster, that could be your mid ticket. Also a great one. Cohorts are doing great right now. Of course, video content of this moving up. A lot of people are just even doing cohort style stuff on YouTube for free. Where it's like if they're giving that away, then what's the real offer?
Yeah, what's the real
That's what's
offer?
interesting.
And
But
and I
yeah,
think,
dude, this is a big one.
I th I think where this price range, especially I think specifically more, I can even use, like, Tom Nosky as an example at, like, the $200 a month, but he has so much volume, to even, like, 1,000, $2,000 a month or a one time. If you're doing this cohort, it can be like a 90-day, or like a subscription, almost like monthly. I think at this point, thinking of the creator, thinking of the actual like business person behind the offer, it's like you're finally getting enough money that it actually makes sense for you to show up, which is really nice. Because I think at that point, if I'm paying $200 to $2,000 for either a 90-day cohort or a monthly cohort, I know that that money that I'm putting in, that creator or that at that point, that teacher or whatever you want to call them, that guru or coach, that coach is making enough money to also give me that back in value. And in a perfect world, which is kind of like the one that I'm envisioning here, it's like you keep delivering on that from low ticket to mid ticket. You keep showing up, and the people that pay you are actually getting their money's worth. Dude, you can sell the world to them. You can, I mean, you can sell them on water, and they could be saying like, "Well, they sold me the best water, and I believe in him." Like anything becomes, the whole world becomes your oyster.
I agree, man. I totally agree. There's so much opportunity right in there, but this is also the big pivot I see when people have low ticket stuff and maybe like the low end of the mid ticket stuff, and they think they can start going to that $1,000, $2,000 range and even to that next ticket up, and they don't have the right infrastructure, the right systems in place. This is the territory where like this threshold right here is where you start getting to a sales team after this.
Yeah. Also,
Totally. And I think they could do it themselves. And I see a lot of people, they struggle right here, then after, because you need to have the right team in place and the right systems in place and the right automations in place,
also,
which
Joe, I
gets
think
to,
just before we go into
yeah,
reoccurring,
please.
I think this is something that you've probably even experienced in the past. Is that when you go from low ticket to mid ticket, is do you have that audience? Is the audience that you built, are they trained to buy this type of offer? Because if the whole time you've taught people how to do couponing and you sell a $19 ebook on how to do couponing in 2026, do you think that you can sell them $1,000 cohort on how to do better budgeting for your family?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
you probably can't, because the whole time you taught them, you're probably at Dollar General teaching them how to shop the cheapest way possible, and they love you for that. And you have devoted fans, and they say, "Thank you so much, Joe, for helping me feed my family." And they will advocate for you, like they will be in the pearly gates of heaven and say, "Let Joe get in before I get in," because you helped them that in that moment when they needed you most. But they will not buy $1,000 offer from you.
Totally. And you know what this reminds me of? I had a client who had millions of subs on YouTube, and his whole channel was built on how to make an extra 500 to $1,000 a month online. And this is like surveys and stuff like that, right? It could never be a high ticket product because those people that watch them are just like they don't have. They're trying to make money to make that extra 1,000 because they need it. They don't have the extra money to spend. Know your audience. So yeah, knowing when to just have the right structure of a value ladder for your type of audience and what you're talking about. And then as we get into reoccurring here, love the reoccurring aspect. Also a very difficult one because there needs to be continued value of whatever it is. The people need to, just like in a SaaS of any kind, the golden rule or ticket is you need to have the user go in and do the same type of action from start to finish and complete that task flow, workflow, like every day if possible. And as soon as you lose them with that, they're like, well, I'm not using this enough anymore. And they're out. And something you may have sold for $300 as a one-time purchase versus $39 a month, are they staying more months to outrun that one-time purchase than what you had it as before? And yet the only way to do that is if you have continued new value, which is
Yeah.
tough to do. I mean, monthly recurring revenue is gold. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I think that's great compared to chasing new sales each month. However, it's arguably one of the most difficult too.
100%. Joe, I would honestly say that I would much rather sell somebody for a one-time $360 offer than try to retain them for 12 months at $30 a month. It is so much easier. One, because when I build that one-time offer, all I have to do is build it once and then sell it over and over and over again.
Sure.
One time, that's it. For reoccurring, it's on a monthly basis. There has to be something new. There has to be something that comes out. There has to be engagement. There has to be something. And I think that is so much harder to engineer. But I think if you go back to what you were saying earlier, I think it comes down to having the infrastructure. And if you have the team and if you have the
Totally.
ways to support this, then you probably have a banger product here.
And I think for that low ticket audience too, for that reoccurring, like it makes sense to spend $9 a month, $19 a month, maybe even $30 a month. And it's just a low commitment. And if there's value there over time, that again, that lifetime value just increases and they're just stuck in. They feel like they're getting something of such strong value, such a low amount a month, which is great if you're able to do that. High ticket. God, I love the high ticket stuff. And I was on a call with a prospect, maybe it was like a month or two ago, and they were saying, "Well, what is the highest ticket thing you've sold through ads?" Like, well, like direct to consumer purchase or like through a sales team? Because I think first off, you're running cold a product, digital or not, like it's going to be very difficult to do at that high ticket, even at that lower range, like very difficult. They need to know you, the brand needs to be there, et cetera. I get it. This is where sales costs come into play. So you could have all the VSLs and nurturing, et cetera. Like, there's a few very small exceptions, right? But yeah, those other piece that like my answer is I start having a sales team in at the 2K mark. That's when I start having a sales team come in for pretty much most offers I've ever worked with and clients I've ever worked with. So this high ticket piece right here, you need to have, and look, I think so many creators and people get stuck in the world of, well, I'm the best seller of my stuff. And you may be, but you also may ramble on and on about stuff that no one cares about. I've trained and worked with really good closer teams out there. There's a reason why they make the big bucks and what they do. They can convert like anyone on anything. They're really good at it. So love high ticket stuff. Almost mandatory. Need to have a strong closer team.
Yeah, the high ticket offer, this is the NFL of offers almost. This is you're no longer in college, you're no longer in high school. Like you need to be dialed the fuck in. And I would say it's a very small percentage of people that like run this successfully for a very long time. And I think a big part of that too is like you have to build your authority. And it goes
Oh
back to
yeah,
what we were saying earlier. To get to this point, you've set up such a good foundation that these offers end up feeling like no-brainers for many people. They're like, I trust everything they say, and this is the answer to all my problems, or this is a solution for my one desire.
sure.
And it's awesome. It's awesome when you get to that point.
Yeah. However, and I think we talked about this before too. I have seen the beauty of low ticket, the beauty of high ticket. Chasing high ticket is a difficult game if you don't have your personal brand built out and if you got your full funnel and customer journey built out. Also, low ticket, how much of your time does that take? You just have ads on, new creative on repeat and just rock and roll. High ticket takes up your time. I mean, they're paying with your time.
Yeah.
That's kind of, or a team's time, et cetera. They're paying for you, the person who's helped guide them there. And how many times did we get, I've talked to you about this, Josh, many times of, hey, high ticket works great when you close a lot of people. Now you're stuck dealing with people, right? And they just want to eat up your time. A lot of them don't play by the rules. It's just the nature of humans, right? And getting them what they're looking for ultimately, and they think it's going to happen like this. I start talking with Joe, I'm going to be rich in a day. No, I need to be very clear. It's not what it is. And they think that's what it is. So I've seen the beauty of high ticket, the frustrations of high ticket. I've seen it like not brainwash. What's the word I'm thinking of? What is it? I mean, that's now.
It's in
We
there,
talked
Joe.
about it
It's in
earlier.
there. Not brainwashed, but
Oh, you know what it is? You know what I'm talking about?
no.
Like it drains you. You're overworked, overwhelmed.
You're burnt out.
Burnt out. That's it. Thank you. Yes, high ticket can burn you out. I feel like low ticket, unless you're the one running the ads and trying to do it all yourself, sure, maybe. High ticket can certainly burn you out. I've been there before, worked with many clients who have had that happen to them before when they finally realize I need a team to do it. Pros and cons,
Dude,
certainly.
honestly, sign me up for a low ticket offer at a 2x ROAS. You're chilling. Like,
You
you could
know,
honestly
I think
be
the same thing, man. I think the same thing. And like there's a lot of people I've worked with, I've even done this too, where it's like you know, they're like, "Oh, I want to give them personal access to my phone." I'm like, "No, no, no, no." Well, it's valuable because they get untapped they will use it and use it. You will not have a life. You retired to do this, to consult, and your retirement is no longer retired. Like your spouse wants to have pina coladas with you in St. Bart's, not happening. Not happening. You'll be stuck in your office forever. Your
you're
phone's gonna be going
you're
on.
cooked.
It will never end. It will never end.
You're done.
You're done. You are cooked. You are cooked. And the last one here, different game. Let's hear this. The physical product brand, SaaS, different rules entirely.
I think this is the moment where I think I want to break this down a little bit. I think there are a lot of highly talented individuals that go down this exact same path.
Mm,
And and I think what happens is that at the high ticket stage, they probably start to experience some of that burnout that you were mentioning, Joe. They start to say, man, the money's nice, but is this going to be my entire life, like at all times?
mhm.
Over and over and over again. I know exactly what fixes my niche's problem. What if I just build what they need,
Yeah.
right? And so, or maybe I just graduate away from this. So, what if? And I think there's many different examples. If you go, and I think this is a great way to kind of tease next episode where we start talking about like the personal brands and the niches.
Yes.
We actually start talking about like tier ranking them and everything. Because if you are that fitness coach that did the content, had the lead magnet on how to like the diet to go like this, then the low ticket offer, which was the workout template to get shredded this summer. Then the mid ticket, which was a cohort where for 90 days, 10 people are being coached on how to do this. And then the reoccurring, which was maybe they created a small like fitness app. And then the high ticket was an actual in person coaching and or maybe they found a coach in your state to actually coach you, something along those lines, right? They're just upscaling, going up, 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 up. And in a different game, they're like, dude, I'm popular. I have like 5 million followers on Instagram.
Mhm.
I'm absolutely killing it. I have money in the bank. I'm just going to go ahead and release my supplement brand. And at this point, I'm just going to use my name to sell this. And at that point, you're getting into logistics.
Right.
You're getting into product. You're getting into like dealing with the FDA and all this other stuff. But you're probably like, I'm just gonna take a different game because at the end of at the end of the day, like maybe like 5 years to 10 years of this really trained me up and gave me the MBA that I needed to run a business. And I'll partner up. I'll get the right business lawyers. I'll get the CPAs. I'll
Sure.
get marketers under my belt. I'll build out the team. But I'm done dealing with these people on a one-on-one basis. I'm gonna build a company. And that can apply to so many different routes, whether it's a physical product, a brand, a SaaS. But now you're in different rules. At this point, you're no longer filming an ad and like throwing it on Facebook, hoping that you can book someone from your sales team. You're filming the ad because you're gonna move like 100,000 units like over this quarter or something along those lines. Like that is a different game.
That was well said, man. I think what to keep it short on my end, I think about this often. And this is probably what keeps me up at night many times and what I think about before I go to sleep. Like what's next? Right? What is thinking outside the box using the current trends and methods of people and their search history and their daily actions and their daily mindsets and whatever, right? What's next where it is a different game? And what does that different game consist of? Is it a combination of SaaS and products? Is it who knows, right? I mean, I think we were talking about before too. What was that drink brand where it was like drinks for gamers? Gamer subs.
Gamer subs.
A drink for gamers? Like who that's a different game. That's just that's they thought outside the box,
Yep.
combined two things, and then boom, blew up. Like, you gotta be kidding me. There's so much of that now.
Yep.
And I think if you just pair two things that are valuable, maybe even three, maybe even just lightly twist what someone else is doing great, change the model in it. I mean, there's so many opportunities I see out there of like of someone else doing it great for law firms, doing it great for construction, doing it great for closing, helping people close as sales teams. And you just take exactly what works there and put it into this niche. That's just that. I think that's critical. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, just see what's working and repurpose something that's working for an audience that may be similar, have the same amount of money or spend type or thought process, and use it towards yours. So that's where like my rabbit holes in YouTube and stuff come in, and these Gary Vee discussions of like, what else is going out there that's killing it, that works, that has a high, that's like being acquired for super high dollar now. There's really good ideas out there, which is why I'm a huge fan of Noom, the Noom app, and how they go about
Oh
their
yeah.
onboarding and getting people in, and that nurture cycle. It's just so good when you use it for everything else. So yeah, the different game, that's what keeps you up at night. That's the things that keep me moving after the click. How about that?
That was amazing, Joe. We're gonna wrap it up at
Yeah,
that.
this is a good one, man. This is a good one. Well, as you mentioned before too, we're going to talk next time about deeper into personal brand niches and the backgrounds of them and what works and how they got there and success that you could achieve in doing something that you're trying to create and maybe model and pivot off of as well. So it'll be a fun one. This was always a great conversation, Mr. Josh. Any final words for our friends out there?
And if at any point of your life you realize this is something you want to build because you're an expert at something, hit us up. I think we can help you get to that point where you hopefully get burnt out of your high ticket sales and you want to venture into the different game. But that will take a 10-year partnership.
Yeah, right. If you're
Yeah.
doing low ticket and want a high ticket, Been There can help you. If you want a high ticket, go back to low ticket, can certainly help you. If you have nothing and you're a subject matter expert, the world is your oyster. Certainly is. All right. Until next time, Josh, appreciate you as always, man. We'll see you folks out there on the next episode.
I
Peace.